Throwing gang signs.
Take two. Take two. Okay.
We basically have to sit on top of each other to be in screen. We tried to do two different phones with the Bluetooth. It did not work.
Sitting in the same room right next to each other with a wicked echo. Okay. John Kim, who are you?
My name is John Kim, and I'm known as the Angry Therapist. Why is my head so small?
Okay.
God. Okay. Yeah, no. This is really tough. I was telling Shaun that we should have bras on our heads because it reminds me of Weird Science, which I am dating myself. But I feel like just two nerds in the garage trying to make shit.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what's funny is that what you see is like we don't look like we're close together, but in real person we're like kissing distance apart.
And that makes John uncomfortable, actually.
We should talk about that.
What about it?
Why I feel so uncomfortable being so close to another man.
Well,
look how close we are. Oh my God. But it doesn't look like we're close. It looks like there's distance, but in person we're so close.
It's a new friendship.
Jesus.
Right? Like
everything is happening so fast.
We met like a month ago, basically.
We met 3 hours ago, Shaun.
In Vancouver. And there was a bit of I thought there was a bit of a bromance.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think we have good banter.
Kindred spirits.
What would you consider a bromance as opposed to like banter? Is bromance what is bromance to you?
Well,
Just a connection between two men?
Yeah, I think it's more than an acquaintance. It's like when you're actually kind of excited about a new friend, which I think is hard to do as an adult.
Yes.
It takes a long time to build a friendship as an adult, and I think that we found some sort of kinship where we've like connected quite rapidly, and I'm excited about spending time with you.
Yeah, and also I appreciate the vulnerability. Also, like talking about cars, motorcycles, other things that we connect on, not just answering love and relationship questions.
And I don't spend a lot of time in my regular life talking about love and relationships. I spend it like going out, talking about cars, gym, like regular dude stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We're going to do Q&A. You could drop your questions in a little speech bubble, and we're just going to jump right in.
Wait, before we do Q&A, can we talk about something just for a second?
Sure.
Do you have mommy issues?
I do.
Okay, so what I'm new to the whole mommy issues, mother wounds, father wounds, all that stuff.
I am too. I actually kind of poo-pooed it for a while until I realized I definitely have some mommy issues.
Yeah, and I think it's a great topic. What are mommy issues? What are mother wounds, and how do you know you have them?
I don't actually know. I just know that my father passed away in June of last year, and my dad, I found out he was the one who was kind of the glue that kept our family together. And now that he's gone, I'm dealing with a much closer relationship to my mom and examining that, because I think my dad took up so much room.
Who were you closer to growing up?
My dad, 100%.
Oh, got it. Right.
And so now that he's gone, I'm exploring my relationship with my mom a lot more and coming up with a lot of issues about how she raised me, about our relationship right now. And so I'm still kind of in the infancy of exploring that kind of stuff. But it's not the healthiest relationship to me. It doesn't feel like it. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, so like, and by the way, I don't think it's a gender thing, but there is a whole with women daddy issues.
Yeah.
And then with men mommy issues.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's so my mom and I. So my mom was never really around because she was always working. Both of my parents weren't, and so I never thought I had issues because I was never touched or abused, or I never had a extremely enmeshed or codependent relationship with my mom. But now I'm wondering, because they never gave me any emotional milk, if I do have issues. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I think the way it would show up for me is the seeking approval and validation, affection, sex from other women, because there's something lacking in me with
your mom.
Yeah, something it's tied to my mom and mother wound. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been a pretty promiscuous dude growing up, much less so in the last couple of years, but I think maybe I was seeking validation from women that I wasn't able to get from my mom, because my mom she just doesn't do feelings, right? And so I didn't really get a lot of emotional closeness growing up. And so I would seek it externally.
Well, how much of it is just healthy? How much of it is, I mean, of course, as, just sexual beings, of course we're going to seek and desire other women. Like, that's not an unhealthy thing. That's not coming from a wound. But at what point is it go from that to actually a wound where it is unhealthy? It is a covering up or a thirsty for because of the lacking of emotional milk growing up?
I mean, I think it's a balance, right? I mean, we need relationships, we need sex, we need food. It's like anything you have an addiction to.
Yeah.
A lot of these substances or these behaviors we need.
Right. Well, that's what makes it complicated is because, if we're talking about, say, drugs, if you're putting a needle in your arm, that's very obvious and it's blunt. It's, You
don't need drugs also.
Well, what makes food and sex... What blurs the line with food and sex is because it is something that is integrated into our daily lives to decipher. How do you say it?
Decipher?
English is my second language. I love it.
Me too.
Is it?
Yeah. French.
I always I joke about that because it's not. But I use that as an excuse when I can't say words like decipher.
Well, that's funny because you said your Korean's actually not that good.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So but because I'm Korean, I just say English is my second language when I can't say big words.
Big words, yeah.
I'm a published author, by the way.
What's up with these birds, dude? By the way, not to distract from the uncomfortable conversation of mommy issues, but
we'll get back to mommy's issues. Is it mommy issues or mommy's issues? Because there's two different topics.
My mommy has issues.
My mommy has issues too. There's a rumor that in Pasadena, a pet store in the '60s caught on fire, and all the fucking parrots flew out, started mating, and now there's hundreds of parrots in Altadena.
It sounds romantic, but it's actually quite annoying.
So sometimes I come out here and I think it's amazing that there's a lot. So we're talking about legit parrots, like the big fucking green. There's something kind of exotic about living in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But you're right, it can get very annoying, and especially if you do a podcast.
They all died in the end.
Jurassic Park?
Yeah, most of them. All right,
the parrots aren't going to kill us.
Let's
we got bears.
Let's get to questions.
Yeah, let's get to questions.
So let's see. Is there a possibility of keeping a long distance relationship alive? I get this question all the time.
Yes.
How do you make long distance work?
Do you like long distance? Because I'm more anxiously attached, and long distance for me, I don't think is sustainable unless there is a reunion, a permanent reunion at the end, where people are either going to, work toward. So if the long distance is temporary, but you guys are moving together to be together, eventually you're working toward that. I think I could do that. But like open-ended, long distance, unknown, it would make me scared to invest because this thing, like, where's it going? How can we? And for other people like Vanessa, it's a dream because she loves the space.
She likes space.
She
yeah,
likes the
I
distance.
also like space. I've had long distance relationships, and they have worked pretty well for me. But my partner was anxiously attached, and it was so. Let's say,
are you anxious or avoidant?
Disorganized.
Oh,
ambivalent.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're both
everything.
You're the whole box of crayons.
Everything. Yeah. They asked me that on KTLA. They're like, "What's your attachment style?" And I said, "Disorganized, ambivalent." And they all went like, "Oh, that's trouble,"
You should have just said all the above.
But it's only trouble if you're not exploring your attachment style, if you're not working with a therapist, if you don't have any awareness around your behavior. But that's a story for another time. Long distance, I think, can work if you're both okay with the long distance. There are some partners that just don't want to live together, and they're happy doing long distance for their whole relationship.
Yeah.
But most people are going to need an end goal, a finite amount of time, whereas they're making steps to eventually living together.
I could do separate houses in different cities. I think that could be healthy and interesting.
But nearby.
Yeah, but
you're talking like Pasadena and like Burbank or something.
Yes, not East Side, West Side in Los Angeles because that is long distance, right? So if you live in Venice and I live in Altadena, we're never going to see each other.
Yeah.
But different states, different countries, I don't know, I don't know if that would work for me, just specifically for me. It would work for other people, so no judgment.
And I think this question is also how to keep it alive,
Yes.
right? You need dates, you need
Yes.
FaceTimes, you need, like, we're watching movies together every, like, twice a month, together but separately. It also, I think, requires money.
Yeah,
You need
travel,
money and
travel.
and flexibility. Like, you have to probably spend like a month or like a week together a month, maybe.
You keep it alive by staying connected as much as you can via. I mean, in these days, it's great because FaceTime, texting, WhatsApp, whatever. Just back then, like our grandparents, we basically had letters we had to mail back and forth if you wanted to do long distance. So now we have instant connection, and I think that is how you do it, is through connecting via tech.
But it's also not a replacement for physical touch and proximity.
No. Can I just also say one thing about long distance that I think people don't realize is not to poo-poo long distance, but if you are in long distance, when you meet, it's always honeymoon, and the person can't do anything wrong. So I think you're delaying the discovering the 360 of someone. So when you're in long distance, you're much more forgiving. You don't see the dirty socks on the floor. You don't see the way they put the dishes away. You don't see the things, the day-to-day of a relationship that can really bother, annoy you.
Yeah.
You just see kind of the cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Which is great because it extends the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And,
But you might not get deep enough to figure out what are the core issues that you might have in that dynamic.
Right. So if you go from long distance to moving in with someone, that contrast is going to be significant.
And you can weather it. You'll be able to. It just might be really challenging.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one. Tips to ease the early symptoms of heartbreak.
How do you keep your font so big?
I must have like old man like setting.
Holy
on.
shit, that's amazing. Their Instagram should have an old man setting for people like us. I'm 51 now, and this is amazing. Your font's huge.
Well,
I can't even see my font when I do this.
Yeah, I've already shown John like 3 different tips on Instagram in the last like 10 minutes.
I just discovered this thing called Wi-Fi.
Or practice mode.
Yeah, I gotta get off AOL. Anyway, tips to ease the early symptoms of heartbreak.
Wait, real quick, on AOL, what was your screen name?
Purple flowers.
Okay, why?
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
I was just fucking around.
Did you? Do you remember your screen name?
No, that was a long time ago.
Mine is Snow Hobo. Like a snowboarding hobo. But then people would call me Snow Homo.
Yeah, of course.
So,
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. Okay, early symptoms of breakup, heartbreak, really, really challenging. I think no contact is really useful.
Cut the cord. One of the things I say often, and this is controversial. Actually, Shaun, what do you think about this? I like to redefine the breakup as an expired relationship.
Yeah.
It has helped me a lot to know that the relationship wasn't meant to go any further, a day further, or end a day sooner.
Yeah.
People say, no, John, you can't compare love with milk, and that's kind of minimizing. I get that, but the reframe, every time I went through a breakup, I really felt like, okay, this is expired.
Yeah.
And that has given me a lot of acceptance and kind of permission to move on.
It had run its course.
Yes, it has run its course.
The way I look at it as this relationship is no longer in alignment. I think we talked about this last.
Are you in syndication? Because you're saying the same shit.
I mean, you have to. You got to hammer it home. You got to hammer it home. I think.
Guys, we just did this, and he's using the same word.
No,
it's
called consistency, John, and I think you should probably learn to use a little bit of it.
Okay, he'll probably use it one more time. That's another question.
There was a comment. I don't usually read the comment, but one of the comments was, "Can you please stay on topic?" And I'm a little offended.
Oh, listen, hey, if you follow me, which I don't think you do, one, I don't have dirt on my face. This is 51 years of hair growth, and then 2, I birdwalk. I throw boomerangs, as I say, and a lot of times they end up in other people's yards. But.
Also, this is free. You're not paying for this.
All right.
If you don't like it, okay. Cut the cord. I think no contact is helpful because also I have ADHD
Stay
or
on
some version of it, and also highly caffeinated.
Shaun's a little hurt.
Here's the deal.
Stay on topic.
No contact will force you to depend on your support system that is not your ex, because your ex was your pillar of support for a lot of people. That's your main source of support. So when you cut contact, you're forced to reach out to your friends, to your family, to your community who can hold you in a way that they haven't been holding you because you'd put your ex as the main pillar.
Yeah, and also no contact means, and this is the biggest thing that people do, they keep following their exes on social. So, you start seeing what your exes are doing, who they're dating that's new, and you're basically just putting salt into the wound. You're not giving yourself space to heal. And also, if you're reaching out to your ex and asking for coffee, and all, you're preventing their growth, And so if you can't do it for you, do it for them. Distance is required. It's medicine. Yeah. So you got to cut the cord. And listen, if you're like, I want to be friends with my ex, okay, maybe, but just not now.
6 months.
Yes.
6 months down the road.
I was going to say 6 months. That's the magic number. How did you come up with 6 months? Or
it just seems like a good amount of time to let all that stuff settle.
Yeah.
And so what I do is and we'll talk about people who have kids after this because you can't go no contact.
Yes, co-parenting is hard. That's difficult. That is complicated. You can go
low contact. But I think that 6 months is enough for the emotions to settle. And then at that point, you can make a decision as to whether you want to be friends or not.
Yeah.
I don't think we can transition to friendship right away. The feeling, there's too many hurt feelings.
And here's my meter. This is what I always say. Okay, you could be, because I always get, friends and clients saying, no, it's good. We could be friends. Okay, can you? Okay, so if you guys were to go on a double date, can you see your partner's new love and be completely happy and see them, imagine them having sex and loving each other and being completely happy for that person? If you can't, you can't be friends. Because what kind of friendship would you be giving?
Sure.
It would be loaded.
That's the litmus test. If you could be happy knowing about your partner dating somebody else, because what kind of friend are you if it's like, hey, yeah, we could be friends, but just don't talk to me about anybody that you're dating or your love life or your sex
or there's
life.
Intentions, or there could be a possible round two, or it's just a loaded friendship. It's not an authentic friendship.
Also, if you break up after 6 months, you decide you both want to get back together, great, do it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, what about kids?
Yeah, you said low contact instead of no contact because you're going to be co-parenting. I think there is information that you don't have to now tell your ex. Like, who you're dating, where you're going. They don't have access to everything, your life anymore, because they're not with you. And listen, I got to say, don't use the kids as pawns in any way. And even if your ex does that, that's where it gets very hurtful. And is when you bring the kids into the picture and you start talking shit in front of your kids, and then leveraging kids and all that. That's where it gets very toxic.
Yeah, talking shit or pumping them for information.
Yeah,
is mommy dating anybody? Is daddy dating anybody? Who's been around the house? All that kind of stuff.
At the end of the day, it's your relationship with your child that's going to be stained, and so
right. Yeah. Well, and not even the relationship, the child.
Yeah.
Right.
You're putting the child in that situation.
Right. Kids aren't meant to do that. That's when you end up like with kids that grew up too fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think boundaries, right? So saying you can't just call, you can't just drop by. Maybe we only communicate via email or via text message. We don't talk about personal stuff. So like you're gonna have to have boundaries. What's so funny about that?
Just thinking of something else, but yeah, we stayed on topic.
We did. Yeah. Are you happy?
Shaun's still angry. Shaun's you're gonna lose all your followers.
Okay, no, I don't think so. They can't cancel me for this. Okay, what would you recommend for a woman who's never had an orgasm?
Alignment.
Never
had an orgasm. Not to put pressure on yourself to have an orgasm, because that's probably going to contribute to you not having an orgasm. I wonder how much. Well, if you've never had an orgasm, I'm assuming maybe you haven't masturbated or have done a lot of self-pleasuring.
I think people can masturbate without reaching climax, and I mean that's
really.
I guess we might be out of our depths here.
I mean, because we're not women. I wonder also, is there religion involved? Is there shame in having an orgasm or sex, sexuality, touching yourself, self-exploration? I don't know. My guess is if you haven't had an orgasm, because the person that's most likely to give you an orgasm is yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I'm assuming that you have not explored yourself in body, and so that would be my prescription is to not go try to get an orgasm, having someone else before all of that, you explore yourself, what you like, how you want to be touched. Play in that sandbox by yourself first.
There's also a book called Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. It's sort of like the Bible for female pleasure. And she talks about this idea of like, there's gas and there's brake, right? And so there are things that prevent us from experiencing orgasm, and there are things that will help us experience orgasm. And you sort of need to like lessen the brake and heighten the gas. So you have to like move things out of the way that prevent you, and also invite things. So inviting things might be like, lighting, music, candles, like the mood and all that.
Yeah.
And then the things that might stop you are like your overactive brain, your to-do list, the things that you need to do. So you have to like sort of work through that stuff. And then there's an app called Oh My God Yes that actually will work. We'll show you like techniques.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Yeah. measure heart rate and all this fucking apps. Hey, can I ask you, as a 49-year-old man, 48,
41.
Oh, as someone in his 40s. We're exactly a decade apart.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm 51.
But you're an Aries and I'm a Virgo.
Also, I'm Asian, so I still look 41.
That's true.
Yeah. What it takes to reach orgasm as a 40-year-old man is different, no? Because before when I was in my 20s, all it took was a breeze. Now I also need runway connection.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not just a physical thing; it's become more of an emotional, mental, spiritual thing for me.
Yeah.
It's hard just for me to rub one out, if you will.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that, but I do look for more of an emotional connection, spiritual connection, more than just physical. And I've just become, I just want more levels of connection with someone than just
as
like, you want to have sex, I want to have sex, let's have sex.
Yeah, they say as men get older, we become women. In that kind of way.
Oh, interesting.
And women become men in that kind of way. Which is a generalization.
For sure, my libido at 41 isn't what it was at 31.
Oh, no.
There's no doubt about it.
No. I mean, in 20, I was just a walking erection.
Nice.
Now I am...
less so. I mean, you work out a lot. Anyways, enough about your erections.
Speaking of orgasms, on our last live, Shaun giving people orgasms is a coin toss.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's a Rubik's Cube, and not everyone knows how to solve it. Okay. Let's see.
Bring in some toys.
Bring in some toys. Yeah. Okay. Bring some toys in. Yeah. Oh, there is that thing called the womanizer, which is a bad name for a sex toy.
It's a sex toy?
It's a clitoral suction device.
Oh my God.
And apparently it's actually, this is a great tip. Apparently it's a game changer for women's orgasms.
A clitoral, so it looks like Cubert.
I don't know what that is.
You know Cubert from the 80s?
No.
Okay.
I was born in the 80s.
Oh shit.
Okay.
God.
It's basically like a little handheld device with a suction cup, and you put it on top of the.
Oh, I played with that before.
Okay.
That's not new.
On your clitoris?
No. That's not a new toy.
Okay.
Yeah. Red.
Okay.
Flag.
Yeah. This is great. Yeah. So is it a
red flag if your partner doesn't want you talking to friends about the relationship?
Right. So is it a red flag if you can't talk to your friends about your relationship? Right. Some people feel really threatened knowing that other people are talking about them.
Right.
And they feel like that they shouldn't, that's a sacred thing that shouldn't be shared with friends.
You know what? My first go-to is, of course, they're your friends. You could talk to your friends about anything, right? Like there shouldn't be like a limit. But I think what you got to be mindful of is if you're assassinating your partner's character, right?
Yeah.
Like that's my thing. Like with my partner, she could talk to her friends, and she does, about whatever she's going through or struggles in our relationship, because that's her story and that's her life. But if she starts throwing me under the bus, if she starts saying, John's a piece of shit, if she starts saying, she doesn't. But I'm just saying, if she's saying things that puts me in a bad light in my character, then I feel like that's unfair, and I feel like I will be judged because of that.
Well, but what if you've done shitty things?
Sure, she can say I'm struggling with this because John has done this, which is a fact.
Instead of John's a piece of shit.
Yes,
John's done shitty things.
Yeah,
it is different.
Here's the thing: if I was to talk to anyone about my partner, even if I'm struggling with I would still protect her character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could say I struggle with this, and here's some problems we're having to my boys, but I wouldn't. I would always protect her character. I would never present her in a way where she's a bad person or evil or that kind of stuff.
I guess if you don't want your partner talking ill about you, don't do shitty things. First of all, number one.
Yeah, but we don't mean to.
Number two,
we don't always mean to.
No, of course not. But number two is, I think it becomes a problem when you're talking to your friends about issues in the relationship that you're not bringing to your partner.
That's big. Yes. So I agree that yes, you can talk to your friends about anything. They're your friends, but also bring it back to the source. Don't talk around your partner. Talk with your partner. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can talk to your friends, but also bring it to the table at home, and because that's how you solve problems, not through your friends, right?
I will say though that sometimes I'll have like a minor issue in a relationship, and I'm not ready to bring it to my partner yet.
Yeah, so you go to your friends first.
I'll I'll crowdsource a little bit, and sometimes my friends will be like, "Dude, you need to calm down. This is not an issue.
Right,
this is a you problem. You don't need to bring this to the relationship."
So Vanessa and I have talked about this because she has a lot of friends, and she goes to her friends sometimes first. And I used to always be offended by that, but now it's almost like, no, that's what she needs. Sometimes that helps because then she's coming to me more calm and with a lot more perspective and stuff. So
a solution, something.
So I don't judge that anymore. I think give yourself what you need.
Okay, cool. Let's see what else we got. All right, so ghosting. We'll just talk about ghosting because it's sort of an epidemic at this point. It is a way that people end relationships. So this question is: how do you get over being ghosted by a partner who already has a new girlfriend? Basically, how do you get over being ghosted?
Yeah, it's not it's not that someone ghosting you that's toxic. It's the internalization of. So if someone leaves you, then it's you saying because of that behavior, it means something about me. That's the dangerous piece.
You're making it personal.
Yes.
When it
can feel personal, of course.
Well, it can also be personal.
Yeah.
Right. But for the most part, the problem with ghosting is that it leaves no closure. And
you want answers.
You want answer, and you're not owed closure, right? Like we don't always get the answer to why a thing happened the way it happened, but it is easier to move on with closure. And so when you're ghosted, you get nothing. They just disappear on you, and that can be really painful.
You know what's helpful for me is I say it's foreshadowing. So if they can't look me in the eye and tell me this does not a good fit or whatever, and they're like skipping out the back door, that's how they're going to maneuver in the relationship.
Yeah.
It's foreshadowing. So then I feel like I dodged a bullet.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard though.
It is hard. It's hard to not take it personally, especially after like 6 months or like, you guys it's not the first date, but you guys actually have been intimate or there's been something and then they just ghost. That's shitty.
Yeah. I mean,
this person is at 6 months.
6 months, no, and that's nothing. I've heard of people ghosting after freaking 3 years.
That's an act of violence.
That's an act of violence.
Yeah.
Okay. I made one of my top videos on TikTok was about ghosting, and I said instead of ghosting, just say this: thanks for the good times. This connection isn't what I'm looking for. Take good care, right? And it got so many views because half the people loved it and half the people hated it. Some women were like, "No, please just ghost me. Do not tell me that. I'd rather just be ghosted." And then other women were like, "You obviously don't understand how violent men can be when they're rejected." And so ghosting is sometimes required because men aren't able to handle rejection with grace.
Yeah, but that's not up to you. That's on the man, right? That's on whoever. So like, I think we all have a responsibility, especially if you have shared a bed with someone, to exit with dignity and care and with love. And hey, wasn't a good fit. I mean, just to straight up no contact and disappear. Like again, I think it's an act of violence.
Yeah, but consider a woman who would be like who has had the experience of rejecting a man and then getting harassed, right? stalked,
because of right. So then
like being called all sorts of names, all that.
So
kind of stuff.
okay, so if she ghosts, then there's less chance of him being a stalker.
Yes.
Wouldn't that activate him more?
I don't know. I guess not. I guess not, because there's like some like their ego's protected a little bit.
For me, it's all about my relationship with self, and if I just, if I was intimate and loved someone for 6 months and then I just disappeared, I'd feel really gross about that.
Okay, so we won't ghost.
I won't ghost.
We're not. I've never ghosted.
Yeah.
Have you ever been unfaithful?
No. Yes, I have. I said no, and I realized I admitted on the podcast I have. It's like, oh fuck.
There was a pause there. There was a palpable.
Because I've been in many relationships now, and I'm also old, so my memory's shot. So I'm thinking early on.
Yeah.
This is early on. I think it was my first relationship. I was in my 20s, and I thought I was going to marry this person, and I have not been with a lot of women at the time, and I was panicking because I was like, fuck, this is going to be for the rest of my life, this one woman, and so I went and paid for sex thinking that I would get it out of my system. Now, what's funny was, why is that funny?
No,
what's funny is, so like 10, 20 years later, I run into this person, right? And this was my first relationship. I think I was like 22. And she admitted to me, and now we could laugh about it, right? And I ran into her like at an AA meeting when I was becoming a therapist. And so we went out and got some food after, just catching up on life. And she's like, I have a confession. She said I was at a concert and I kissed some young guy. And I was like, you bitch. And I said, I have a confession. I hired an escort or a masseuse. I forgot what it was. It might have just been a happy ending, and then we were actually laughing about it. We're young and idiots and all that, but that was the only time.
That's so funny.
I mean, it is technically cheating, even though you pay for it.
Oh yeah, it's 100.
Okay, I'm trying to minimize.
Going to see escorts when you're in a relationship is
that's plural. I said
okay,
and also I think it was a masseuse. I don't think we had sex. I think we had
sex work.
I got a happy ending.
Sex work.
It's sex work.
Someone here said paid. I laughed because I have also hired sex workers in the past. It's been a long time. I was also a sex worker, so I don't have any shame around that kind of stuff.
I love how honest you are. I love how honest you are. It's amazing.
Thanks.
Yes,
yeah, it's one of the things that people like about me. I think we'd be in a better place if sex work was legalized and legislated and safe and
I think we're headed that way because sex workers now don't get the amount of judgment they did back say in the 80s or
I don't know.
I mean now but sexuality and especially also open and poly and all the stuff that's happening with relationships, love, sex, intimacy. There's a lot more fluidness and openness and curiosity, I think, than there is this harsh judgment that I mean, look at OnlyFans. That's like the new version of a stripper, and it's like no one judges it. I mean, people judge it.
People
judge it, but not like the new generation. I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. It's just
we're heading in the right direction.
We're definitely not on topic, as one of the people was saying earlier.
No, I think
we're heading in the right direction as far as the world, but as far as this live.
Oh no, I think we're good. I think this is really interesting. Actually, OnlyFans. I get this question a lot. What do you do if you find out that your partner is paying a bunch of OnlyFans accounts? Yeah.
Okay, so
is that cheating?
I mean, I'm assuming there's different levels of OnlyFans. I'm sure there's OnlyFans where people are just kind of nude, and then there's OnlyFans where it's straight up porn, right?
And there's OnlyFans where there's also where you're if you're paying for a subscription and you're chatting with the person.
Oh, you can engage.
And you could tip and all that kind of stuff.
Because I'm like, what's the difference between looking at OnlyFans or looking at pornography or back in my day, Playboys and penthouses and magazines?
It's the access.
It's the access. That makes sense. Yeah. So it's not just fantasy. You're now engaging with this person.
Yeah, and you're hoping that they're going to message you back.
Yeah. I don't think that's cool. Because you're right. That's next level. Because, if it's just fantasy and you're looking at a Playboy magazine or you're looking at pornography or looking at something, then that is more, I don't know, it's a device, it's a tool, it's fantasy, there's distance, right?
Yeah.
If you are now, say, DMing people, if you're having conversations with an OnlyFans person, now you've broken the wall down and you are now intentionally engaging, even if you don't have any intention to physically be with them. there is the energy of now engagement, and I think that's. I mean, one would maybe even follow that under infidelity. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people think that. Yeah, I mean, there's levels of cheating, right?
Yeah,
there's levels of infidelity, and for one couple, that might not be a big deal because they know that it's still fantasy.
Sure.
And for another person, like I've had people saying looking at porn is cheating.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with, but I think that's just one step too far.
Yeah.
But I'm not judging.
Yeah, the porn thing. I think that if you have to look at porn, if it becomes an addiction, I think it could be a problem in a relationship for sure. I don't know if it's cheating, but it definitely can put a crack in the relationship container.
Oh, 100%.
But that's up to you, and whether you think it is a problem or not. But if it's not a problem and that's something that you look at once in a while, or you're using it to pleasure yourself or whatever, I don't necessarily think that's cheating. What's the difference between that or fantasizing about the girl that you saw at Starbucks? No one's gonna you know what I'm saying? Like if you're masturbating, what's the difference between looking at an image on the internet or the image that you create? Like
in your head.
Yeah, like.
Well, I think one's more creative. First of all.
No, I'm saying like that's for.
I was just thinking about the benefits. Actually, it's nice to be able to use your brain to masturbate and not have to rely on pornography.
Well, I'm just saying, hey, listen, if you believe that your partner doesn't find anyone attractive and is not fantasizing about other people, I hate to break it to you. It's happening.
Yeah. Oh.
And they could be fully in love with you and have no intention on cheating on you, but they're human.
Yeah.
Of course they have fantasized or have masturbated thinking about someone else, and that's just.
I mean, now we're looking at like puritanical views on relationships. All right, let's move on. I think we beat this one sufficiently. Okay, so he has a hang up about saying I love you. Actions say yes, but he just won't say the words. Is this common? And also, what do you do about it?
My question to you is why do you need him to say I love you?
Classic therapist answer.
Yeah. I don't like when people use "I love you" as kind of a chess game, or I'm not going to say it until they say it. It's kind of like,
or I'll say it.
Say it, man.
I'll say it so that they say it back.
Yeah, or if you say it and they don't say it back, then you're butthurt. Can you say butthurt?
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Yeah. You're butthurt, or you're angry or resentment. So you're it's conditional. You're using it as bait, and I think that's damaging. If you love the person. If you feel it, just fucking say it without. Of course, we all want it back. Of course, if they don't say it back, it feels a little weird and whatever. But why do you need this person to say "I love you"? I think what does it mean?
Well,
if their actions are loving you and everything's good, and they are treating you in a way.
I mean, like you said, I think it's challenging to profess your love to someone verbally and for it
because you're putting it out there.
You're putting it out there, and then you're not receiving it, even though like they change your oil or.
So I would be honest, and I would just say, I love you and I mean it, and you haven't said it back, and it's a little hurtful. And I would be curious about what's hard for them, but I wouldn't put pressure on them to. And if they're like, hey, listen, this is something that's really hard for me, and it takes me 2 years to say it, well, then you understand that, and you give them space and compassion, and you know that about that person.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, I have told you that I love you. I haven't heard it back from you. I'm just kind of curious, like. Is that challenging for you? How do you feel about me? Like it's an opportunity
it's pulling from curiosity, not blame, or because you're not saying it, I'm not saying it, like any of that stuff.
But it does require a sense of self-esteem and self-worth to be able to sit in this position of I've professed my love to you verbally and you haven't. Let's have a conversation about that without feeling hurt or a victim or all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy position to be in.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more?
Sure. Only one, huh? He's kicking
40 minutes in.
Well, that's true, yeah.
My stuff is in more of a shot glass, not a wine glass.
Okay, so how can I stop attracting men who are already in relationships?
Again, probably being a therapist again, but what are you doing? How are you showing up to attract these men? Are you unconsciously flirting or giving men who are in relationships more attention? If so, why? I always like bringing it back to you. You know,
Someone just wrote back, "Stop being fun and sexy."
they're talking to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. I mean, that's interesting. I hadn't really considered this idea that we might be unconsciously acting different. I mean, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. Let me give you an example. You meet two people at a party, right? One person is single. One person is taken.
I hate the word taken.
Or because of possession. One person is in a marriage relationship, and for some reason you may not be aware of it. You're like flirting with that person more. You're seeking that person's attention, and this is some of it maybe not maybe healthy in that you just want whatever validation something. It's unhealthy when that becomes a pattern, and that's where you put all the energy, and then you ask yourself, why am I only attracted to men who are married, or why are men who are married only attracted to me? There might be something, or maybe not, but there might be something that you're doing to gravitate toward them, or showing yourself in a way where they gravitate toward you. I don't know. I mean,
well, we want what we can't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
right.
And sometimes that's a defense mechanism, right? Because if we go for the thing that's available, then we have to open up. We have to risk getting rejected, getting hurt. There's intimacy. There's fears there.
But there's also less dopamine. There's more. If I could get something I can't have, or I also heard like in the gay community, if they can sleep with someone who's not gay, there's almost some kind of like double win in that, or that convincing someone to be with them, like there's some kind of like
a prize.
Yeah, and I wonder with people who naturally gravitate toward the people that are not available. This happens all the time, right? We go for people who are unavailable because the prize is bigger. Yeah. Because it means that, I have more power, or I'm more attractive, or look what I did, or look what I can do.
Have you ever heard of gold star gaze? Gold star gaze?
No.
That's a gay person who's never had sex with a woman, or a lesbian who's never had sex with a man. They get a gold star because they're like a perfect.
Oh, their batting average is
1,000 or something. Is that right? 1,000? Is that how it works? Yeah. I don't play sports.
I don't. Yeah, either do I.
So the one thing I will say about this attracting married men is that, like, sometimes, there's some unconscious component, but from the conscious side, maybe you don't have that much control over who you're attracting, but you do have control over how whether you let these people into your life.
We Don't Play Sports is kind of a great title for a podcast.
Yeah. We're coming up with a podcast title idea.
We're contemplating doing a podcast together.
But We Don't Play Sports is good.
We Don't Play Sports is a great one. Also, mommy issues.
Should we tell that? Someone might steal that.
There are more podcasts than stars in the sky.
Okay.
So
I like asking for a friend.
So there's already tons of.
Yeah, I like asking for a friend.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so is that it?
I like We Don't Play Sports. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Let's talk to your agent about it. All right, thanks everybody.
Hey, thank you. Be well, and
you're the Angry Therapist. I'm the Love Drive, and this has been We Don't Play Sports.